right, welcome back, viewers. Today we have a very special guest with us. His name is Wing Commander Sudhakaran Sir, retired, and I am happy to bring him in on this podcast as you guys have been requesting to bring more experienced people, and this is where we have brought in Sudhakaran Sir with us. Sir, we are really excited to have you with us on this podcast episode, and we would like you to share your amazing experiences that we have discussed over the call previously with our audience. So, sir, like you have told me that you have served the Navy for 23 years and then now you have become a CEO of your own
And
company.
more Air Force.
Air Force, yes, Air Force, sorry, apologies for it. And now you have become a CEO of your own company. So, why not you start with inspiring, sir? Because your journey, it has been something very different. And our audience, they are mostly young people who would like to understand how you have done it.
Air Force motto is, when I joined the Air Force, the motto of Air Force is touch the sky with glory. And that's something that I've carried back. So the entrepreneur in me was born long before I joined the Air Force. It was just kind of an accident that I entered into Air Force. I could have gone into ISRO also, but then somebody advised me Air Force is a better choice because it actually grooms you for life. It grooms your personality. It develops you. It makes you a much more stronger person, and you can take the challenges head on much more confidently. And so true it was. I didn't work for 20 years. I would say it was a university that I went to, which taught me for 20 long years. Imagine somebody paying you and teaching you for life.
Right.
And I still continue to learn. So the child in me is still, the curious child in me is still alive. And that's why I realized that I have to do this because I know what it means to do a startup. Startup means no paycheck for 3 to 5 years.
Right.
Startup means getting your hands dirty.
Right.
Startup means being able to, you may call yourself a CEO, but you are everything from a chaprasi to a peon to a driver to whatnot and whatnot. We've seen all that. Uh,
Right.
it's been 4 years, all of 4 years, and it's been a roller coaster ride. I wouldn't say I've done very badly, but I wouldn't say I can claim any great accolades as of now. But yes, we are making ripples. We've done a lot of things. I will subsequently talk about it. So my journey into entrepreneurship, as I told you, began long before my military career.
Right, sir.
In the early 90s, I was already intrigued by intelligent systems, and my university thesis was a version of what we now see as Google Maps. Of course, at
Wow.
that time, Google was not there.
And this was in 90s, right? Far back.
1997, 98.
Wow.
So it's there as a thesis. Uh, but then, 99, I go on to join the Air Force at the backdrop of Kargil War. I didn't. I knew that I was heading to a technologically very enabled force, but I was not sure. But then I still took the plunge. I thought if it was not to my liking, probably I'll get out. But then, boy, I got trained in aeronautical engineering, guided weapons into advanced missile systems. These days with Israel and Iran, missile is the buzzword. So I've been
Right.
trained in some of those core technologies and very, very, great systems, I would say. And that set my foundation rolling because I had a programming uh, attitude right from my high school. So I was already doing that. Uh, I did my bachelor's in electrical electronics engineering and then went on to do radars, missiles, guidance, and whatnot and whatnot. And finally, in the Air Force, I also went on to build India's largest military network, which is one of the fourth largest networks in the world. So I
Wow,
built the
that
first
is
data center for the Air Force. And that gave me a deeper insight into how the world of IT actually works. Then I built the first on-prem cloud virtualized platform for the Air Force. We built some cutting-edge applications replicating across data centers, which are today used as a template for running mission critical applications in the Air Force. Now, when you have exposures like this, you go to any university in the world, you cannot get this kind of training.
Right.
And I'm talking about hands-on approach. Like in Air Force, one concept is there. If you're given a job, beg, borrow, steal, you get it delivered. Um, and you are called as the officer IC of that particular project. So, be it about digging the foundation for the building or drawing the wires for the power systems or planning the standby power, just in case your data center power stations are getting bombed, you do planning at that level. It's fail safe planning. And
It is
I've done
a
all
lot of
this all
planning on
alone. And I've done all this all alone. All alone. I've worked with the likes of HCLs, international players, Cisco's of the world, the Ritals of the world. Then I realized the feet is going bigger than the shoes that I was wearing. So it kind of transformed me to big time, big projects, because we are handling projects which are worth thousands of crores. Now,
it.
that is in a corporate environment, probably you will look at one part of that project at that level of age and seniority. But then Air Force, equips you, trusts you to do big things. I told you the motto is touch the sky with glory. It
Right.
enables youngsters to do that. And I was fortunate to be right place, right time, doing the right thing. Right. And these were my learnings. And my time in the Air Force, serving for 23 years, was instrumental in shaping my leadership and the strategic thought approach,
So it
which
is
I don't
more about
find in most youngsters, because, they're often short sighted, they're brittled in their vision, they're not very confident to think too far ahead. And these things are crucial for leading a business. Furthermore, my exposure to top tier technologies and systems in the Air Force prepared me for what is called as the deep tech. People don't even understand what is deep tech.
right.
Like,
Most of the people don't understand.
I
Even
think what
I,
they're doing is deep tech,
right.
right? And deep tech has got very, very deep meaning. It's got very sinister designs. And I was exposed to those of working in the field of information warfare. How do nations, like, for example, how did Israel go and attack the Iranian nuclear facility with Stuxnet, right? You analyze it threadbare in an armed forces environment, because you don't want to become a victim of that tomorrow. That's how the Indian Army, the Indian Air Force, the Indian Navy prepares itself. We learn from others' mistakes, we learn from others' technologies, and then build ourselves. That's how it helped me. And in many ways, I see myself today as an intelligence alchemist, somebody who is seeking the holy grail of technology itself. In fact, the reason why QGates, aka quantum gates, which we see as the future of computing, was set up was to actually do what India has not done in the last 30, 40 years. Because we've been the capital of the labor market in the IT industry. We
Right.
have not built original technology in India. Even the big wigs, the TCS of the world, the Infosys, the Wipros, they're happy doing traditional service oriented business. That
Right.
will not make India a superpower. And there are something that we have to understand. I'll probably talk about it.
We
So
would like
this is
to
the
hear about it, sir. We would
Yeah,
like to hear
yeah. So
because
starting a business focused on indigenizing India's digital intelligence. That's the journey of QGates. So I tell my people three things. We want to do very different things. Different things are always difficult to do.
correct.
And what is difficult will always be dangerous, because there is always a danger of you failing, right?
Right.
So difficult, and dangerous is our journey. Uh, and we take up that challenge head on. I hope
I
I've
see a
covered
lot
your
of
first.
curiosity. Still, you were right. There is 100% curiosity. I can see that. That is amazing, sir. Sir, you mentioned about deep tech. So why not you just give a bit more information on it? Because many of the people, even when I talked to you first on the call, I got onto the internet. I did a bit of my research. What is this? What is goes into this? So why not you tell a bit about it? Because during the preliminary poll that we did with our audience. So this question came in.
See, a lot many people have very. In fact, I have. You can go on to my YouTube videos. There is a specific video on what is the myth of AI. Right.
Okay.
99% of what people do in India is not AI at all. Right.
Right.
In fact, I have been the author of Drawing India's Technology Vision document for 2047. Um, in fact, I did this for IIT Bombay and submitted to the Department of Science and Technology under the Technology Information Forecasting and Assessment Council. What we call as AI is people, download from GitHub. They, retune some parameters here and there. Finding a cat, finding a dog, creating patterns. Uh, those are all automations relabeled technically into AI. Because what is the difference from the AI that we did in the school and now is the compute has become insanely fast. Your mobile can do the kind of compute which my high school computers couldn't, right? The
Right.
memory capacity that we are talking about, or the GPUs, the kind of processing that it does, that's what has brought the difference and what we traditionally try to call as intelligence. When I talk about deep tech, we are talking about some original tech, which forms the basis of all technologies that you see. Like, for example, today there are a lot of guys, everybody talks about Gen AI.
Right.
Nobody builds it foundationally from scratch.
Correct.
What people write is, you know how to take an input, write an API, you know how to write an API. Sam Altman is more than happy to give you his,
Give
for a
it to you.
price.
Right.
And then you look very intelligent at the surface, right? Like there was a very famous entrepreneur, I don't want to take names. uh, the guys who did cab aggregation are now today doing Gen AI, but foundationally they wrote a wrapper around open AI. Now this is like fooling yourself and fooling the country big time. In fact, I've been trying to tell people that we as a country have been waylaid in the race of AI. In fact, let me give you an anecdote. When I was in my primary school, I used to be going to a lot of competitions, and then once we had to go to a venue for attending a competition, we went to altogether another venue because the directions were not clear. I realized when I went to the venue, the competition is not here, but in the other venue, right? By the time I went to the other venue, the competition was over, right, and the prize declared. Why I'm bringing this, and I learned a big lesson. When you're going to participate in a challenge, it's very important that you go to the right place, right? Otherwise, however prepared you are or however capable you are, you're not going to win it, right? That's exactly what is happening to India. India is sitting in a venue which is of no consequence of matter, right? And there are guys who say, I can do NLP, I can do image processing, I can do video editing. None of this is AI, actually, if you actually look at it. If you are asking me the core definition of what AI is, I'll bet my last penny down. Many of them wouldn't even know, right? Now,
Right.
the definition of AI is one part. Second is there are a lot of people who claim what they're doing is AI. Now, my counter question to most of them is, how do you know that is AI, right? You have, like, if I say this is gold, there is a way to test it.
Right.
What kind of standards did you pass to say that you qualified? Just because you use some naive Bayesian networks or some Gaussian distribution or this formula or that formula, it doesn't become AI. There is a test for AI, and how many of the people do really know what is that test that it needs to pass for you to label something that you've made as AI, right?
Right.
So these are foundational things that people don't understand, which I believe that we need to put things in place. Because today, more than the actual guys who are invested in technology, who've learned technology, who've earned their degree the hard way, it is the marketers, the sales managers, the lawyers, who talk about ethics in AI, guys who have got nothing whatsoever to do with AI are the guys who are actually standing in the forefront to say, we are doing AI. And that's a mistake, right? We need to have a far more deeper understanding of this. Then we will probably realize where we stand, or the venue that, as I told you before, where we are standing vis-a-vis where the real people who are pursuing the real AI, where they are standing.
Got it. And now I understand, you mentioned that there is a big innovation and invention gap in India. So this is what you were referring to, right? That we are basically like Just like even the big shots in the India, big companies in the India, what they are doing is they are just doing labor intensive work rather than actually innovating and building something onto it. And you are right, even the APIs. So now most of the people, they are using OpenAI APIs and they are creating products on it and they are just selling it. But the innovation and the invention gap, now I totally get it. Why you mentioned to me, and I even personally went on to Google and asked this question to Bard, the invention and innovation gap in India. So this is something very deep, and I think our audience will totally agree to this. We will put a poll here, and also the YouTube video you mentioned to watch our audience for deep tech. So we will add the link here, so our audience who is watching this episode can actually better get into this. Now, sir, moving ahead, like you have a very deep background into technology, and now you are
This,
starting.
Anmol, I'll just interrupt. This invention and innovation gap,
Yes.
I think I'll just cover a bit of it, right?
Yes.
See, one of the foundational problems with India is very good at, India is historically very good at jugaad, right?
Right.
Like
History.
what we call as.
Yes.
And jugaad is nothing but frugal innovation. It comes out of the cap. He may not be qualified, just application of common sense, right?
Right.
And that's what jugaad is all about, getting things done for the moment,
Right.
right? That is good, but it's a double-edged sword. Now, why I call it as a double-edged sword is, on one hand, it enables quick, cost-effective solutions, but on the other hand, it can hinder traditional, structured, long-term innovation. Systematic barriers like rote learning, rat liya, got diya, or jaake, you go and vomit it in an answer sheet, uh, actually creates a bigger problem, right? Uh, this rote learning, under funded R&D, right? And the risk averse corporate cultures. I want every time that you go, every time I need to succeed. Because of that, people refuse to take risks. And if you don't take risks, you are not going to cross that innovation and invention. It's like, imagine a long jump or a high jump, right? If
Right.
somebody sees that, okay, jumping this much, I'm going to get the national record straight and I'm going to get the gold medal for year, he will never become a Olympic champion or a world champion or an Olympic record holder, because it's just simply not attempting. You're just simply going to prevent yourself because you're looking at the short term gain. That's very, very important to understand. And to become a true innovation hub, India needs to regain one more important aspect, which is strategic thinking and thought leadership. And these two things, I don't know, what has gone wrong in India's policy making. India says make in India, right?
Right.
We say make in India, but why don't we think in India? You go to Mumbai, Bandra, Kurla complex, the big fives have almost occupied most of the real estates there, which means the kind of money that they're making is insane in this country, right? And whom are they employing? They're employing your own people. They're taking your own money. It's exactly East India Company Part 2,
Right.
right? See, the Britishers didn't come in lakhs. They came in few hundreds. They probably brought a very good tailor, right?
Right.
They stitched good clothes in which you look more smarter, the bright red ones,
Right.
and then they made you fight for them. In the process, they looted this country. They took $45 trillion away. Now, how is this different today when the big fives are doing your strategic consulting, your thought leadership? You have ceded that space. Do you think India is going to get being advised by these big fives to become a technology superpower? They'll definitely want you to be a follower. They'll definitely want India to supply labors, and these are some mistakes that India at the policy level they are committing, which they need to buck up. They need to look at the indigenous talent to drive that thought, to drive that leadership, to then will come the innovation and invention. And in the process, we will also need to ensure that the money that we spend are spent homogeneously across the spectrum. There is no point in spending in the IITs, because why people go to IIT is to fetch a six-figure salary, right?
Right. That
Now,
is true.
none of them establish big tech companies here. Now, these are challenges that we need to understand. So, if you spread it homogeneously, because we have to stop believing in these one exam wonders, right?
Right.
Somebody is told that in 12th standard, you work hard, go to IIT, your life is set.
That
Life
is
is
the
not as easy as that.
right.
I was told this when I was in 10th standard, and today at nearing 50, my learnings have not stopped, and I have no problems with that, right?
Right.
So, this is where we need to correct ourselves.
Right. That you went on a very deep level to make us understand. Even I got to understand you are correct. What these big five firms are doing, it is totally true. And before the shooting of the podcast, I was watching a case study on how Royal Enfield they revived back. So in that case study, also they mentioned that a McKinsey report cannot tell you what your customer is. You need to go out and understand and sit with the customer, get your hands.
Exactly.
So that is totally true, sir. I totally related with that case study. And now, sir, as you have spoken about this, why not you speak a bit about the state of startups in India? We were discussing that most startups will, yeah,
So again, startup has become kind of a pop culture here, right?
right,
Any student who wants to come out, he doesn't want to work, gain experience, and then get into the actual game of building a company, right?
right,
They have very less experience of life. They, come up with, most of the startups are one idea companies. Beyond that one idea, they are nothing. And even in that one idea, they're not correctly, or, there is no long term strategic vision or planning. Let me build a kirana dukan, let me send kirana 15 minutes, let me start online transportation, or and most of these guys are fancied by these drones. Put a motor, put a rotor, and then put a battery and a controller, and this thing starts flying, and he thinks he's become a biscuit. Now, these are very, very long approaches. The startup ecosystem is definitely booming. We have, close to around 1 lakh startups.
right,
But unfortunately, there is a prioritization of quantity over quality. Right. Many entrepreneurs venture into overcrowded markets without, a solid differentiation strategy or sustainable business models. In fact, most of them end up in startup because they can't today get a job outside, because the job market has become, very tight. The number of people who are unemployed is so huge. Just to salvage some pride, they go up, because it's a cool thing to say, I'm doing on my own, and then, probably, make some waves in the friend circle and the social circle. That's not how startups should actually be built. This is the reason why many fail. And uh, the lack of, I wouldn't say it is lack of enthusiasm. There's a lot of enthusiasm that I see in the youngsters, but this is because of poor planning and market research. In fact, if we conduct a thorough due diligence of all these startups, I can with 100% assurance tell you whether this guy will succeed or not, right?
right.
Their failures can be predicted at least 5 years before, right? This problem is compounded by the venture capitalists also, because they think that bet on this horse, bet on 10 horses, 2 or 3 horses gives you good number, 3 or 4 horses fail, it doesn't matter, right?
Right,
Now you are actually planning for failure here,
right,
rather than if we invest the talent that we have in the right direction through a national mission, and look at how we can prevent failures of these young minds. I think we can draw a lot more crop from the land than we are otherwise harvesting. We are harvesting a lot of failures, and failure has got another problem. The moment a majority of these youngsters are going to fail, uh, they're going to look down upon themselves. They're going to look at themselves as somebody who cannot succeed. And if thousands and lakhs of such youngsters are going to be the future of this country, you can imagine where we are headed to. It's a disaster. That's where demographic disaster starts. We need to strengthen our minds. We need to imagine if we can create minds which can say, yes, I can go and touch the sky with glory. That's a different attitude altogether. But imagine in your young age, you tried something, you failed, and how many of them will actually be able to learn from the failures? In fact, I treat failures very, very precious to me, right? Because failure teaches me more than success can.
right,
But how many can take it in the right stride? And these are things that we need to look at in the long term, because for me, people, it's always people first, right? And if I can work on people and I can give them the confidence to succeed, I think we have a very bright future. And technology will be a byproduct of that confident mind. That's my take.
Wow, that is totally new. That is something really new. Like even I am young, so I am able to, get a lot of new things into my head. How exactly you are thinking, how exactly your experience have helped you start your company. So yeah, that is
In
something.
fact, we've started a program called Excel to Earn. This is again focus on this. You can go to the website and check it. I don't want to talk much about it. The reason why I started that program is the last 1 year I interviewed more than 2,000 kids.
Okay.
I couldn't pick 20 out of them.
Wow.
I couldn't pick 20 out of them. And I don't want to blame those kids. It's the education system that I want to blame on, because teachers, the professors, they are happy, finishing their jobs. In the process, these guys, after 4 years of engineering, they are not fit to deliver.
Right. That I
Right?
totally.
Startups can't invest in training them.
Right.
And what's worst is these guys think that when they do engineering, they're worth 14 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs per annum without they even understanding. In fact, there was a gentleman who came to me who said that, sir, I expect 24 lakhs per annum. And I said, okay, I don't mind giving you, but can you tell me what are you going to give me in return? I need to know the value of what you're going to give me. And he was clueless. And then I had to tell me, boy, this is where you stand. If you sell me anything, I have to look at the value of what I'm getting.
Right.
How are you going to earn me money? You see, if a company is going to pay you 24 lakhs per annum, have you ever asked yourself, how much is the company going to earn from you? Otherwise, it's a waste. You are a leak.
Right.
And these are foundational things that are not taught in colleges, because of which they have misplaced ambitions, misplaced aspirations. They don't focus on building their skills. They don't think that their foundations need to be strengthened. They think that, I go somewhere, talk some language that I use in social media, look cool, I get my, value. No, that is not how value is commanded. Value is commanded by what you bring onto the table and what value you create. This is something that I want to tell all the youngsters.
I can totally say this is true because we also we have a lot of MOUs here in Dehradun. It's a educational hub, so we have MOUs with the universities, and most of these kids, when they come on the internship, they tell us that I need 1 lakh stipend. I say, but you are paying university to get the learning which you are not able
Learning.
to apply here. Why will
Same thing I have asked them.
yeah. Why will I pay you 1 lakh rupees today only in the interview? So my dad, he also happens to be the HR with us. So he and I were sitting, there was one walk in and he asked us, I have switched my career from hospitality, now I want to be in digital marketing, how much you are going to pay me on the internship? I said, first of all, you need to go and learn what is digital marketing before coming to here. You are coming here, we are not a consulting firm to guide you, or we are not a career guidance firm here to help you out with this. Just go, you find this out, then come back to us. Okay, but then let's say if I do a course, how much salary will I get? I said, before salary, you need to prove who you are, what you can deliver to us. We are a startup, I cannot pay you 10 lakh rupees or 5 lakh rupees like this only. I need to first see the value. And he was like, all his face went down and then he went away. So this is a very true problem. And because like universities also, they are just promoting ki, one candidate
So
has
we
got
are attempting to solve that problem through the program called Excel to Earn.
excel to one.
You know,
Okay.
the whole focus here is on building excellence. And what we are telling our people is, you come to us, and it is not me who's going to make you excellent. It's you.
Right.
But then we'll show you the path of excellence. And if you excel, you'll definitely earn.
Right. Yeah, that is something that the market really needs right now, because I will say we have, if we
We
have,
have around 4,500 applications, and we decided that we'll start the first batch only with 250. Now, we don't know how to handle it. That's our problem.
well, that is a good problem. You can, you
Yeah.
have 250 candidates to handle. Yeah. So, sir, why not we talk about deep tech versus general startups?
See, deep tech's focus on transformative technologies like AI. I told you, many of them
Yes.
don't even understand what AI is.
Yes.
Quantum computing, robotics, right? There are very foundational. Robotic is not about putting some plastic to some motors and make it move, make it speak. That's not what we are talking about. We're talking about very transformative technologies which are far more foundational. See, before the onset of Gen AI, when I used to talk about it, people used to say, you're out of your head. This can never happen, right? And today, everybody says it's Gen AI.
Right.
And
Everyone is
now,
saying
last week, I was at an army conference, and they said that we wanted to build large language models for the army. And my opening sentence was, the era of building large language model is already over. You've already lost that race. You are trying to now catch up. Now, even if you invest billions of dollars in building a foundational model, it will take you anywhere between 2 to 3 years minimum on an optimistic note. By then, we are now today talking not on generative AI, we are talking about cognitive AI.
right.
And cognitive AI is a different beast altogether. You go and watch Sam Altman. Says ChatGPT 5 is GPT-4 on steroids. Now you know what is the power of 4 itself.
Yes.
You can't imagine 4. You already talking about 5, and by the time you build your GPT-3 in 2027, you are building a bicycle while the world is in a superbike.
Right.
Now, that is the precise problem. So I said you can't drive the car looking at the rear view mirror. Because somebody developed something in the past, you are now looking at the rear view mirror, let me catch up that. Right?
Right.
Your car is moving forward, time moves forward. So you need to have two approaches. I need to concentrate on my future, build technologies for future while keeping an eye on the rear view mirror.
Right. That
But
is
if you drive with the rear view mirror, you're going to hit the car in some into some roadblock for sure,
right.
right? So coming to these technologies require very long term R&D investments. Today, Sam Altman is trying to raise 7 trillion USD. Yesterday, I was just seeing it. The latest round of its fund valuation is around 157 billion USD. You know how much is 157 billion, 200 billion USD?
It is a
India's
lot.
total GDP is 3 trillion. He
Right.
is trying to raise something like 2 times of your GDP. Doing what? If we understand the core of that, then we understand what real deep tech means. He has already said how he is going to push AI towards AGI singularity. And how many of your audience understand the singularity matrix in AGI? In fact, 3 years back, when I told this to a policymaker, I criticize the Niti Aayog's 2019 document. It talks about artificial narrow intelligence. Artificial narrow intelligence is nothing but automation labeled as AI. They've refused to talk about AGI, and the world is moving towards AGI. That is deep tech today, right? Building quantum the traditional way is no rocket science. It will happen, but imagine a resonance between quantum and AI, because your GPUs are not going to help you build AGI. Why? Because you need thousands of GPUs. It's insanely expensive. And what is this entire uh, platform competing against? The human mind, the
Human.
human brain. And how big is the human brain?
Right.
5 quarter 6 ounce or so,
Right.
right?
Right.
Now, if that kind of a processing can happen in that small real estate inside your head, then which means we are not processing it the right way. And that's why quantum comes in as a game changer, because foundationally, biology works at the quantum level to process information. Now, if quantum marries AI, and I talk about a concept called quantum AI resonance. When quantum AI resonance happens, you are entering into a very, very different field. And let me tell you, India doesn't have one research paper in any of the IITs, let alone the tier 2 or tier 3 institutes. There are very few people who understand what is quantum AI. That's the future. And you're trying to talk about large language models, building it because somebody built it.
Somebody built it. Right.
Right. So, investing in, technologies like it for India to become, see, India is on its path to become a global superpower economically. right?
Right. But
Economic
technology.
powers don't depend on other countries for its technology requirements.
Right.
If you are a superpower, you'll have to make it yourself. We're going to compete against US and China. Now, both of them are wary of our demographic power, our ability to compete. That's why they're trying to compromise you. Now, if as a nation you are waylaid, you are in a different venue than where the actual competition is happening, then you are in for serious trouble. That's why the kind of deep tech that I'm talking about, it is very, very important to invest. We need to home grow deep techs. I don't believe that we can collaborate specifically in the realm of AI. That's not possible. We can't write APIs to somebody else because there are far more important cyber challenges that we face in it, right? Because it can do far more. You know what happened to the pagers
Right.
one
Pages.
month back, right? uh, if that is what they can do with something so small, so simple,
AI is.
AGI is a nuclear bomb multiplied by a trillion times, bigger thing. You can understand the devastation that it can
I can
cause,
understand, sir, because
right?
AI, we even, I will say, we also use it on a daily basis. Everyone in our team is using. So all that data is getting supplied to that. And this is happening pan India. The data is going out to OpenAI.
So if somebody is giving this for free, you need to understand he's not giving it for free, but
Yes,
he's using you to train himself.
correct.
And he's already at such a pace you can't catch up. And
Right,
that's why, in fact, in my technology vision document for India, which has been submitted to the PMO, or probably going to be submitted to the PMO, we very clearly said we need a national commission for digital super intelligence in India, like at par with the Atomic Commission, right? Just
right,
because the Atomic Commission was established, you built your own bombs. And because you are a bomb, people now listen to you. Otherwise, you would have been a nobody. They would have messed up with you big time.
right,
On that lines, you need to create a national commission, you need to create a national mission, you need to have a national belief, and then you have to converge your resources to build and achieve this national mission. And these are some 3 or 4 things which I put as in a perspective. I don't know whether they will hear this out, but these are very important things.
no, that they are totally important. And whatever you have told, I totally relate to it and totally agree on it, because OpenAI, when we got the tool on our hands, we were just like going crazy, talking anything and everything without realizing that it is taking away all the data. And now people are using it for far many more use cases, like sending it the images, sending it more recordings to transcribe. So it is a lot of data, yes. And now they have your data of faces. They exactly know far better than Facebook who you are. Yeah. So now why not, sir, we touch down on the topic of funding and future vision.
See, India's funding ecosystem is again a lot more confused.
Mhm.
Because the guys who have money and want to make more money, you can't do it through the traditional trading methods. बनियागिरी नहीं चलेगी टेक्नोलॉजी में. It requires far more vision, far more understanding, far more patience, and trust. These are all things that are missing in India's funding, in specifically the deep tech, right? The general tech, I don't want to talk about it because there are a lot of guys who get a lot of money, and then we generally tend to believe that it is being well funded, but that's actually not the case.
Right.
So it needs to have, if you ask me, more clarity, more focus, and more long-term goals. Um, they are currently they're focused on quick returns,
Correct.
right? And then they often overlook the deep tech ventures that require patience and strategic investment. For India to build, see, one more thing that I say is, okay, we have an Ambani, we have an Adani. They are of no good when it comes to building original tech, when you compare it with the likes of Microsoft or Tesla or Google. No, we don't have that kind of companies, right? The
Correct.
IBMs of the world, the Intels of the world. No, those companies somehow, for some reason, don't seem to grow, right? I have been inside the government department. There is only so much that a Bharat Electronics can do. It's a Navratna company, but then I know what the restrictions were. There is only so much that a CDAC can do, or an HAL can do, right?
Right.
We need companies like SpaceX. We need companies like OpenAI, right? And many such companies. You look at what China has done. So I call it as the GATEX versus the Baidu framework, right? The Alibabas, the Huawei's, the Xiaomi's. They, if you actually look at China, for every company that is there in US, they have a matching company in their mainland. But when you look at India, you are consumers of these companies.
Right.
And that doesn't augur well for your future. You can talk about globalization and collaboration, but deep tech doesn't allow you to collaborate. Did America give you semiconductor manufacturing technology? No, they didn't.
No.
Will they give you nuclear technology? You made it for yourself. That's why you have it. You did something in space, but that is nothing to boast or chest thump big about, because those are still possible. Because if you have been in engineering, the mechanical guys always have it easy, because they make it, they see it, they feel it. The guys who study electronics, digital signal processing, they are already in a different, it is not seen, it is not heard, it's very difficult to relate, right?
Right.
Conceptual level projects are very, very difficult to understand and create. That's why, I'm not taking away what ISRO has achieved. But at the same time, we have not built our own chips.
Right.
For cutting edge machinery, we're dependent on foreign lands. Now, AI is something that you cannot bring it from outside. For the simple reason, uh, in AI, you are trying to actually replicate a human mind. And human needs visa to come from one country to another country. Say a dog doesn't need a visa, a cat doesn't need a visa, a horse doesn't need a
Definitely.
visa. But why does a human need a visa? Because of your brain. It is actually, the visa is given for your brain. And digitally, you are replicating that brain. And because of that, that kind of technology cannot be used for governance, for defense, for things that are far more mission critical.
Correct. You need to create your
You're
own chip.
stepping into very dangerous territories. The country needs to understand this. The sooner they understand, the better it is for them. And that is where the funding has to come. So the first set of funding has to come from government to create that trust. Yes, our people can do it. With that funding, if the seeds start sprouting, you will find the traditional Indian baniyas coming and putting their money. Getting money is not a big deal.
Right.
But for that, the government needs to create a trust, which the government has failed to do. At least this government has the intent to do it. The erstwhile governments didn't even have that intent. They were trying to sell you big time, right?
Right. I agree on that. Now
So
the
here
government
the intent is there. I always say this: नियत है नीति नहीं है. अभी आपको नीति को लेके आना पड़ेगा. You have to create the policy along with your intent. I see a lot of good people who talk good intent, but then unfortunately, when it comes to signing in the dotted lines, they're helpless. They don't know. And that's where the prime minister has to step into it, because he is the one who needs to sign in first. And once he signs in, the rest of them will follow suit. And that's where we need to set the narrative that will actually spur in more funding, will create more value, and then you will see more products coming in. In addition, we must also recognize the existential risks posed by technologies like AGI. How can we not look at it? If you look at it, then you will start understanding it more. 2019, they did the document. After that, what? They went into a slumber, because now you can well make out that was an individual effort. Good, bad, ugly, that is different.
right.
We didn't have consistency there. Now, today, GPU or METI is going to procure something like 10,000 GPUs. But believe you me, they don't know how to use it. If you are not going to put that 10,000 GPUs on a single unified machine, as I was telling you before,
Yes,
those GPUs are of no use.
they will be useless.
They'll be used for detecting a cat, dog, white, black, tall, dwarf. That is not AI.
Right,
And this is something that we need to understand. And if we understand this, my belief is we'll get our policies right.
right. Amazing, sir. This is really amazing. Even I got to learn a lot from this episode, doing this episode with you. Like, it is a lot of learning, I will say. We should do another episode with you if this one works out really well, because I think the entrepreneurs who are watching it, it will be an eye opener for them as well as it is for me. And now, as we are
And I
at
hope like, you get more viewership.
yeah, of course, sir, this episode, I think the kind of value you have given, this is not something you easily get on Google or you easily get anywhere, because you are coming directly with executing the things on hands, and the experience is speaking here itself. So that is why this episode is far different from what we have done with others. And I will, of course, for sure share this episode with a few mentors that I have, and they are also going to love this one because this is really different. And now, sir, as we approach the end of this episode, would you like to touch down on the steps to superpower status, like creating the right policies, or as you I know, of course, you have spoken a lot onto this during the episode, but like just to sum it up with this part of it.
Um, so again, superpower status is not something that will come very easy. It has to be earned, right? For India, it will come easy because the number of people that we have. This land has always been born to be the leader of the world, Vishwa Guru. That's how we call ourselves. In fact, when the 2047 vision document was being written and when we assembled in IIT Bombay, the the bottom line that the Prime Minister had given to the country was, how does India become a world leader, Vishwa Guru by 2047, right?
Right,
So it's not going to be easy, but we can make it easy provided we get things right, right? And for that, fundamentally, the first thing that we need to do is we need to reform our educational system. We can't run on a Victorian era industry clone production system, dictated by the likes of Macaulay. Today, the youngsters look down upon our own culture.
right,
If you ask them whether Ramayana is your history or myth, many of them wouldn't be able to tell. That is where your future actually lies in your past heritage. I always tell this that if you are told that you're son of a beggar, the way that you will conduct yourself, the way you will walk, the way you will talk, everything will be with the shoulders down. You will show very, very low confidence of yourself. Imagine if I, on the contrary, were to tell you that you were all scions of a great king. Even if you are of a person from a very poor background, you will start walking with a very different level of posture and confidence. India needs to understand that we come from the land of kings. India was Sone Kichadiya. It
right.
was. I told you that Britain took $45 trillion away from this country.
Yes,
You know
45.
what it means? Your GDP today is 3 trillion.
And they took 45.
45 trillion is 15 times that money.
Right.
You know what it means? If I have to colloquially tell you, me and you would have been 15 times more richer.
Correct.
Right?
Right. Totally.
Imagine being 15 times more richer. Tell the world, when you believe in that yes, I was 15 times, I could have been 15 times more richer, you talk a different language. It's just like the cricket team. If you come from a pedigreed system, even youngsters who come from school go play international cricket, they will beat the best international sides and come. But if you actually look at it, 11 players this side, 11 players that side, mindset matters. And mindset will come from educational reforms. And educational reforms need to tell people how it is very important to pursue the real things, not the superficial things. When you go behind real things, you will build real big stuffs. That's where innovation and invention, it's not jugaad that works. Jugaad is okay.
Jugaad is okay for the thing to
One
be.
day's homework, you're doing a jugaad is okay.
Right.
But in the long run, you cannot thrive on jugaad. That's the first point. Second is R&D investment. India invests something like, the JERD ratio for India is around 0.73. We need to take it around 5%. That's the kind of money that the Prime Minister and Finance Minister needs to find out from somewhere. The good thing when you find that kind of money is, imagine a $1 trillion entity coming here, the kind of tax that it will come, what you're going to invest, you're going to reap. I always tell, don't tax a seed, tax a tree.
Right.
Because if you tax a seed, the seed will never go to a tree. But if a tree grows, the tree will fruit. And the fruit, you take whatever you want from it. It will give more than what you can expect. So that should be the policy of the Indian government. Don't tax the seeds, tax the fruits, tax the trees. Invest more in R&D. Innovation infrastructure. Today again, while, I don't know whether to say good or bad, I saw yesterday the Department of Science and Technology announcing, so many T-hubs inside IITs. It is not accessible for you and me.
Right. It is not accessible.
That kind of money going to some people, and most of them go abroad, take jobs in foreign MNCs.
Yes. That is totally true.
That is not how you build an innovation invention infrastructure. It requires a very different level of planning, because if you have people planning for agriculture sitting in air conditioned rooms, you know what kind of crop you're going to get.
Yes.
You need real farmers who have got their hands dirty. Bureaucrats, okay, they're meant for planning, I agree. But don't do the planning, please.
Right.
Because you have not gone to any industry or worked there or understood the problem of what actually that is there, to be able to make a policy that will actually make industries grow to $1 trillion companies. That's why we don't have $1 trillion companies here, number one. The second part is, I hate these professors coming on into panels and making policies. What they are good at is mugging and vomiting and making the students mug and vomit. You mug a syllabus, you can vomit it twice in a semester, 2 semesters in a year.
And then you get the degree.
They've not done anything useful in their life. They may talk good jargons. Ask them to deliver one industrial project. 99.9. I'm not talking about this for all professors, but how many of the real professors can actually get onto an industry, deliver a product that works? It's easy to talk. I can talk, you can talk.
Right.
Today I talk because I got my hands dirty. I am blunt because I care for no one. Because if I be politically correct, probably I'll not be able to drive the truth.
Right.
Truth is always bitter. Take it as a pill. Because I care for India as much as you care for India, because I care more for the future.
Right.
So, if I have to say that everything is going on fine, then probably there is no correction that is needed. But if we say that there is some correction that needed, we need to take criticism. And criticism with the punch. I again say,
yes,
नियत ठीक है, नीति ठीक नहीं है. तो नीति को ठीक करना पड़ेगा.
We will highlight this.
Last thing is the policy and legal support. We are a country which are hostile to startups.
Right.
Today, if I tell you, softwares don't get government loans, bank loans, because software is treated as a commodity which cannot be assessed. The government has no method of funding you beyond 10 to 25 crores. If I'm talking building deep tech, it starts upwards of 100, 500 crores. I have gone to all places, I've checked all avenues. You are encouraging the startups to build average technology with little money. And you want them in more quantity so that you can adhere to a certain vote bank. That unfortunately is a political track that we need to abandon. The problem is, even if Modi wants to give me 100 crores, he can't give, because Rahul Gandhi will be there telling that Modi sided with another Adani. That's how startups are killed. And that's how I know personally of hundreds of people who migrated to the Middle East, to Europe, and to America.
Hmm.
We're losing very important minds
I connect
because
a
of this
lot of these
culture.
dots now.
Because of this culture. See, I am still stuck here because of my service in the defense. Because come what may, we have to face the challenge. I like it, I don't like it. I have to lump it, and I have to create a way in the existing path, work towards it, talk to people, criticize where it is required. I don't fear because, there are a lot of business people who tell me, why are you talking so openly? But if I don't talk, how will people understand that they are wrong?
Right.
And if you don't know that you are wrong, how will you correct yourself? So these are some points that I feel rest it's up to people. I've been talking about this for now, what, 4, 5, 6 years. I continue to talk about it. Let's see where we go tomorrow.
Right. No, amazing, sir. On this note, I think you have given a ton of value to our audience, and I think our audience will love it. I will be taking all the links from you, putting them in the description, putting them on the podcast, and highlighting all the important things that you have mentioned. And, sir, it was really amazing having you on this podcast. Our audience would really love the energy that you have shown, would really enjoy the passion that you have shared today with us. And I personally have learned a lot from you, and I would like to do another episode with you soon on this. So, on that note, thank you. First of all, thank you to sir for joining us on this episode. And now, thank you to our audience as well who have watched this episode till here. We would like you to comment down in the comment section. Tell the things that you want us to ask sir. We will be getting down to sir, asking them those questions and getting back to you for sure. And do like, subscribe, and share this episode as much as possible, because the words that today we have gotten on this episode needs to go out to everyone in India. That is what now I believe in as well. And
Thanks, Anmol. Thanks.
thank you so
Thanks a
much.
ton. I'll be more than happy to give any clarifications on anything that I've said. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.